Hello, everyone, and welcome to RHAP's coverage of Australian SurvivorAU World. I'm your host, Shannon Guss, here for more preseason content. You didn't think it was possible, but it is. It's endlessly possible. It's the longest possible preseason for the shortest possible season, and we are here to do more of that preseason content. We have a draft for you, a different draft for this historic season, and to do that draft, I had to welcome in my recap bitches. Here we are again, second season with these people. Firstly, Chappell. How are you, Chappell?
I'm excited, but I'm like very, very I'm trying to act normal, right? I'm trying to act like this is not some crazy fever dream that we're living in right now where we're doing Australia's Survivor versus the World. But where else would I want to be except for here with you talking about this on like the go-to podcast for this type of coverage?
Thank you so much, Chappell. Your opinion means the world to me. And now moving on through the recap bitches. The person in the middle who's always there in the middle of the week, usually getting non-elims that probably won't exist in this season. So it's getting better. Pooya, how are you?
Call me Malcolm, but I'm also the reigning champion of any draft you've been in tandem. So
sorry, you said call you Malcolm, so I had to laugh at you.
Relax, okay? Relax, Mike. Look at us. We're in the second tier together in this bottom
run. I love
okay?
this. Listen, we can flip. We could do this. Force a 2-2 tie if we want to. Make it go to
That's
fire.
True. I will always go to fire for you, Mike. No, Shannon, thanks for bringing us back in for this. Like Chappell, I'm absolutely over the moon. Like, I think back to when we first started all this. You know, you're like excited just to cover the show, and then now we're like covering the show, but like talking about all these legends that happened before we started podcasting, and that's always a treat.
Yes, it is. We're very lucky to cover the season. Also, this is going to be a competitive draft if you guys care about your placement in the StreamYard, because this is we're just in order of the week of recaps that we do. And the person who's always my final recap bitch, because usually I'm like, we'll talk for so long, we should give people a little bit longer to listen. That was kind of the thought process behind it. Obviously, my favorite, it is the great Mike Bloom. Mike, thank you for being
here.
The rear. Listen, I'm always here to take up the rear. Let's make one thing clear. I'm pumped to be here. I do think, Shannon, you're joined by 3 Americans on this podcast, and we do have 3 American legends that are playing this season. Should we start the first of many mapping exercises and have you assign which alum is which alum from an American perspective to the 3 of us?
I love it so much. Pooya will obviously be relegated last to the person I can't work out. Mike is Tony. He's crazy. Oh, you're all crazy. You could all kind of be Tony, but I kind of feel like Mike should be Tony. I actually feel like Pooya might be Parvati. Like, I'm not just going to like shove him into the 3rd slot.
It's Pooya.
And then Chappell, are you lovable enough to be Suri? Is that
Chappell he's an absolute
Chappell's
social butterfly. Like, he can work any environment that he's in, much like Suri. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Do I have to play the message she sent me on my birthday where she told me I was family? Because she definitely did say I was family. So I accept. Thank you. As a Suri.
I'm happy with mine. I accept.
Yeah, listen, I'll be.
I mean, look. That couldn't go badly. Like, anyone would be happy with that.
Oh, sorry, no, you're a sellout, bro. Why'd you pick me as Tony?
I would be happy with any of them. Chappell, you helped me meet Suri. Like, if you are family with Suri, why have I never met Suri? Everyone has failed so badly in the task of this, but hopefully by the end of the season, I will have been helped to meet Suri.
I mean, that's the thing, not only to just co-sign what these other 2 lovely gentlemen were saying, but like, this season is just a absolutely wild concept. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is the stuff that Brant Steels have been building in the back end for the better part of a decade. And I think nobody necessarily thought it would be the case. I know Jeff Probst has certainly commented on, like, he does not necessarily view international seasons in a certain light. I know international seasons, they brought on Russell, they brought on Sandra, but especially with 50 on the horizon, how can they book talent? And so to have this happen, and especially to bring in people from some of these other international franchises that, Shannon, you have done, the absolute yeoman's work to cover these voluminously, and then to have them be shown in such a larger spectrum of things. Now, granted, it is Australian Survivor, so we'll see how much that's represented in the edit at the end of the day, but like, I never thought I'd see Rob Bentley play Survivor again. I never thought I'd see Lisa play again, much to my enjoyment. So it's a really interesting experiment. We got to kind of take with what we're given in terms of just the criminally short season and runtime of said season. But regardless, the concept and especially the cast has me so incredibly invigorated to check out what is going to happen when we go from the Super Bowl of Survivor and Winners of War to the Olympics of Survivor with Australia versus the world.
Yeah, and can we give a big shout out to all of these global listeners that you're gonna have, Shannon? Because like that's the thing. You obviously are the global expert here, but like I don't know if the Quebec people have been checking you out. They're here now. Shout out to y'all. Of course, that's
Bonjour.
South Australia. Like we got everybody here now.
We already had a lot of Finnish fans. Okay, the Finnish fans they reached out when Tommy was included.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, look, the audience has grown now, and so we're gonna give them a show.
Yes, that's the hope. Okay, well, Sam had the idea of doing this AUV World Draft. Also, Sam, maybe we get a cast photo at some point if that's possible. But yeah, Sam was thinking maybe we do an AUV World Draft. And now just looking at as we have 3 US legends, I am Australian. AUV World, me versus you, 7 players each. We go back and forth. It seems fair, right? And then if I lose, it's funny because I had half the board. And do we like this?
Yeah, because then if you win, it's like, you needed all the help you could get. You needed.
No, I'm alone though. To be fair, you all have each other.
How does this affect your average draft placement?
No, this isn't. This is a whole different.
It's canon. No, this is definitely canon. Like if you do not pull this one out, Shannon, it's going to look really, really bad.
Yeah, I mean, what we could also say as well is like that's going to be really interesting. Depending on the person who wins, I will be massively intrigued to see if the fan base will like put an asterisk next to this win or not. Ooh. Right? Like if it's someone more unsavory, it'll be like, well, it was only 16 days and 14 people, but
if it's Suri, it's canon and it means the world to me.
Okay, it means more than game changing.
It's the world. It's the highest honor. Okay.
This is something I've been speaking about with some of the listeners and really like grappling with myself. I think we should get it out of the way because I think it's important, obviously. I don't think it's an asterisk. I think that when you talk about winners, we always qualify with it was this many days, it was this caliber of cast. Like I think all of those things to their extremes matter for good and bad in the season. Like this is a very high caliber cast, so you have to include that. The fact that it's fewer people and like the fact that it's less of the days for me and more about like it's just such a small amount of people. Like yes, I will talk about that when qualifying these wins, but I still think it is a win on the global stage. And obviously in this world of international Survivor that we've been covering for close to a decade now, all wins are very different. We talk about Australian Survivor winners. Chappell, we had a conversation about David, Robin, Tony. Like they're all playing against very different casts in very different franchises in different amount of days and formats. So in this world of international Survivor, we already kind of do that. I think I'll just continue to do that, but I won't be putting an asterisk. I think that if you're winning against this cast, even if you're doing it in 3, 4, 5 days, that's what it feels like that is valid to me.
I mean, the cast itself weighs so heavily for me that the days don't matter. But also, if anyone still doesn't see it, let me give you a comparison. Think of it this way: there's a 400-meter dash at the Olympics. This is a 100-meter dash. It's faster. It's quicker, but it's still a medal and it's still the Olympics. So and it's still the same people, same athletes. So it counts.
Yeah, better athletes, the best actually. It's like really like the world championship. So I think that the cast starts to do well to weigh it back in the favor of impressiveness. So kind of on the balance of everything, I think there's a lot of validity, but we'll just kind of talk about that. The way we talk about every win, you talk about some winners like you went to tribal council fewer times, like things like that. We'd always do this with winners. So I'm happy to kind of do that. Should we get to the draft of me v you, AUV World?
Absolutely. Now, Shannon, how is this going to work? Is it just like back and forth? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, there's going to be a wheel that Sam's going to get up for us. It's going to be Australia versus the world. It's going to choose who's first. Shannon and the world. Okay, can you spin the wheel, Sam?
Oh, we are the world.
We are the world.
We are the world.
Children. Is it spinning or am I tripping?
No, it's spinning really slowly and like joltingly.
Okay.
Oh, is it going to be us? It's not Shannon.
Oh, wow. That's the first time I've ever won a wheel spin.
Well, there you go.
Good I can't take the pressure. And can we get a cast list, Sam?
Yeah.
Live producing on the fly here.
If anyone of our listeners doesn't know anyone in the cast, we have been doing the AU World Tour with all 3 of the recap bitches were a part of that. And we went through every single person on the cast. So if you're wondering who is Tommy, who is Cass, Lisa, Robin,
that's required listening. Like that was something that I specifically checked out before coming on here. Not only did it provide such necessary information, Shannon, for this and anticipating this season, it's also just like a fantastic recap as to just like some of the WTF aspects of both Survivor Quebec and Survivor Finland as well. And listen, you know, we're team subs, not dubs, but like it can be tough sometimes to find these non-English speaking seasons available in a palatable format. So I'm very happy that you were able to check this out and summarize just how wackadoo some of these things can be.
I regretted not going on enough about the shot in the dark equivalent. Like I talked about
how big was the die?
So basically, I didn't really talk about this on the podcast, and then I was so angry at myself after. But basically, yeah. So you have a little die. Everyone, a tribe won a die in the first challenge, and they had a 1 in 3 shot. So 2 sides of the die were safety, and you give up your vote. So you put your die in the urn, and then, which everyone has wanted from US Survivor for so long, was shot in the dark, you would come up with the host whose name I would say escapes me, but I've never known, to be honest. And he has like a die that's like, it's not like comically large, but it's like bigger than the little one. Maybe just like, I don't know.
Like the dice you would hang from a rear view mirror.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Mike. Thank you so much. And then you would get like a bucket, and he'd put it, and then you got to like shake it in the bucket and then like roll it out on the table.
Why was there a bucket involved?
I don't know. I think that, you know, just like, because then you can't like rig it. You know what I mean? I don't know what that gesture looks like. Yeah. You get a bucket.
Throw it in a certain way for it to land a certain direction.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of Survivor Finland. Yeah, both seasons were wild, but I'm sure that hopefully that research will stand me in good stead for this draft. I'm gonna take my current winner pick, who through the AUV World Tour, I got really high on Luke. Luke is in a great spot. Miles made a great case for how well Luke is going to do. I think Luke has so many shields and is like willing to use shields and is super, super well connected. Has a pre-game relationship with Kirby. Sarah has played with Janine. Everyone likes him. Obviously, his relationship with David. David has many, many connections. And like is usually quite a big threat, obviously, but now has like such good shields. So I think he's really well positioned, and I could imagine like the home turf of an Australian winning. So I'm going with Luke. Thoughts? Feelings? Okay.
It's a little predictable coming from you. I mean, like, look, I'm just gonna put it out there. I knew you were gonna pick Luke.
Yeah, because you like the podcast.
No, because I know you and I've watched Luke play. You know, like I've seen all of Australian Survivor at this point, except for a little bit of the blurry parts of Blood versus Water. But yeah,
there aren't a lot of blurry parts on Australian Survivor. They show a lot of crack.
They show too
much.
Crack, I would say
butt crack.
I've seen a lot of ass. Yeah, it's a lot of booty. That said, yeah, Luke is a very solid player. You know, like Luke is always a contender, very social. People always love to be around Luke. He's always a fun like story to follow as well. So it definitely felt like, okay, Shannon, knowing a lot of these players, you would know a lot of their flaws and a lot of their strong suits. And I think he has a lot of strengths. I think he does. And so and he's very well connected. He has played with almost over a third of the cast, so I think, or something like that. And so like I think that if anybody is protected just from pre-existing relationships, it's Luke.
Yeah, he gets played with 3 of the 6 people on his cast and has a relationship with Kirby, who knows no one else.
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
exactly.
I think that he's one of the people that's most locked in to make the merge. And I think, as you mentioned, like if he makes it there with those people, a good amount of them are gonna get picked off over him, because I mean, if he was playing this like 5 years ago, there's a good chance that he becomes a bigger threat than maybe the people around him and gets taken out. But you have, as you mentioned, like a David who, as we'll get into, looms much, much larger. You know, even some of the people that are not in his alliance, if a George or a Shawnee makes their way to the merge, there's a good chance that they're going to get picked off over Luke. Forgetting the fact that like this dude was a couple of clutch immunity wins away from winning the game. And, you know, he is no slouch in the challenges either from an individual perspective. He showcased on Celebrity Big Brother that, like, not only can he come on and sort of, like, play, and not to say that this is a brand new format for Survivor, but, like, sort of a shortened season, and also be able to manage a lot of egos that come with these people that are coming in. So I do think that while it's been a while since we've seen Luke on our screens, so I guess we saw him in Traders Australia, right, Pooya? I think that he has some really good inherent skills. And I don't know, I'm also manifesting him to do well just to see him and Tony interact. And the second they touch, like the universe is going to collapse in on itself.
I feel like that's true of so many people on this cast, though. We've said that about, and it's mostly Tony and everyone else. But yeah, I mean, Luke prepared for his original season by watching Tony YouTube videos, and then, like, quote unquote, created the Spy Shack. And Australians really thought he did. Like, they think the Spy Shack is a Luke original. They must be confused right now, when I'm sure there'll be footage of Tony creating the Spy Shack. Yeah, I mean, Luke he won Celebrity Big Brother, which was a fan vote at the end. He beat such luminaries as Caitlyn Jenner and Omarosa and Meghan Markle's brother. So that's the caliber of cast we know he can win against. Can Tony and Suri and Parvati be better than that? We'll see. But yeah, you watch Luke as the traders expert. Any thoughts on Luke in 2025 kind of vibes?
You're muted.
Oh, can't hear you.
Oof.
His reads were there, and I feel like, if you are someone that Annabelle's going to vouch for, then I trust it, because I trust Annabelle's read on things. And he was literally the only person that listened to Annabelle. So being a listener as well as good socially is always a good combination. I think also the fact that he was more prominent in the earlier era of the show was good for him, because, and I'm not judging any of these 7 internationals, but if any of the 7 internationals were not really aware of Australian Survivor, I have to imagine what's on the radar is some of the more recent stuff is going to be there. Like George is going to be very prominent in whatever they've like looked up and researched. Luke might be quietly like falling in the back because he's from the older era, right? And I think that's good for him for the merge scenario. Combine that with, you've already talked about his links in the existing Australia tribe. It doesn't look like he has to worry about anything, so it's a good safe pick.
Everyone loves my pick. Okay, you'll go.
It's a safe pick.
It's a safe pick.
Yes. Predictable.
Why would you make anything other than a safe pick? Why would someone
Right.
make a dangerous pick? Why would one
I have a
pick the
question.
first pick and do that? Yeah.
This draft is serpentine, right? So now we get 2 picks and then Shannon gets 2 picks, or is it just
Oh,
one,
yeah.
one, 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 one,
Yeah.
one, one?
No, I think that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Serpentine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who gets the
Cool.
last pick?
Okay, should we?
Okay.
Okay, so here's a little bit of
Let's talk a little bit.
how the democracy sausages get made. We've done a little bit of commiserating behind the scenes once we were told
We
this
did.
format. I mean, we all
I get the
discussed our first possible 2 picks. Do we want to pull the cord? Do we want to make them happen?
Yeah.
I think we both. I
Let-
think
all right,
both.
Yeah, let's be as dramatic as possible though. Should we do one at a time?
Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All right, Chappell,
Can I
why don't you
leave?
do the
Chappell,
first
you
one?
announced this one. You announced first one.
Well, it's only fitting that I choose, because as I've been deemed this person, I am the avatar for this person of the season. I think we're gonna go with Suri. Shannon, I don't know how you
didn't
claim
draft
to be the biggest Suri fan, and yet I don't think you've ever drafted Suri.
And
What do
she's
you
been
mean?
available.
Two
She's been on the
opportunities I
board.
had.
She's been in the same year.
But
So-
I think that she went first. Oh, well, this is
She-
actually a patron exclusive. But didn't she go first in the 50 draft? I didn't have the first pick.
I mean,
Oh,
why
that's
wouldn't-
public now,
again,
I believe.
Why wouldn't she? So here we are, kind of right your wrong. I don't know why you would want to meet her if you're not going to even draft her, but I'll talk to her about it. We picked Suri, not you.
I love not drafting my eventual best friends, Marianne. So that's
Yeah,
kind of a
because
rite of
yeah,
passage.
it's honestly, I forgot who drafted. Wait, that was me too. Yeah,
Mhm.
Shannon.
Mhm.
I don't know what it is about you, and but I don't know. You're just leaving money on the table, not drafting Suri first.
It is painful to not draft Suri. You are right. She is there. I could
don't
draft
know.
her.
You were between a rock and a hard place, though, because I feel like if you picked a non-Australian first, you would be called a traitor.
Well, and I picked a traitor. I literally,
Yeah.
so
No,
I mean,
faithful.
that's not really what I was thinking of. I'm just really high on Luke's chances. I think Suri
Higher
could do
on
well.
Suri.
Suri could also do really well. I think Suri is a great pick. Now I'm sad.
Well, because
should be.
here's the thing. Like, yes, on paper, she has perhaps out of all 3 Americans here, like the highest reputation.
Which is
she's-
crazy.
Yeah, which is well
Suri
because
hasn't
the
won.
other the other 2 have 3 wins between them. But Suri has one of the most consistent performances across all of Survivor at a remarkable clip. Not to mention, she was a winner on the Traders. Not to mention, she made a very deep cut in Big Brother. Like, Suri
Killer.
is one of these people who has made a career out of being on reality TV, much like a George, as an example, much like a David. And so I think she could be
Much
looked at a
like
little bit.
everyone in this cast, really.
But here's the thing from my perspective, like, we say this every
Every
goddamn
time.
season Suri's
Every
on.
time.
Like,
Every
oh,
time.
no, but this time they're going to catch on. Her target looms too large. But when people get in the room with her, it is just this matter of like, I know you're dangerous, but like, I'll work with you and then I'll cut you down the line. That's what happens every single time to a T. I think, we've spoken about this idea about, okay, the 3 Americans are going to work together and then they just have to swing one more person over. So I think Suri is going to be very well protected for the pre-merge. And that's the hardest part for her usually, right? Is besides actually winning the game, is like getting through that initial thing where you would say challenge strength is a indicator of who goes. It might not matter at this point because they're going to merge on like day 1.5. But Suri is going to continue to work her magic here. Reputation be damned.
Yeah.
I love you have beautiful optimism.
Of course.
There are 2 truisms that are about to collide in devastating fashion. I'm not an
I'm gonna
optimist.
sit up for this.
Suri gets screwed over. That's her thing, right? She's been screwed over so many times, by so many twists, by so many production mechanisms. Australian Survivor, known for the messed up twists. Those 2 truths are about to collide in something that's going to make me so angry. I can already feel it, and the season hasn't started. That's my prediction.
To Mike's point, if the Americans stick together, that's 3, and they only need to swing one other person. And it'd be crazy if there was a Suri super fan on that tribe. If there was anybody who name dropped Suri during their own season of television and who would rather be dead than to not see Suri win this season, it's Lisa from New Zealand. Sorry, I think that Suri is fine for a very long time. Yeah.
For now. But you haven't heard of the most secret twist that's ever happened where someone just gets picked to go randomly by production's hand.
I mean, it does.
For some reason, Suri.
You're gonna see in this season those 2 truths are gonna end up being a lie because Suri's not gonna let it happen.
Right.
It's an inevitability of
what better season would it be for Suri to basically break the curse, except for
That's true.
going up against the world and proving that it doesn't matter if they won, if they're massively popular. People, you look at this, there are winners on here, and I'm still like, Suri's better than them, and that's crazy. Yeah. So this is the time.
I think honestly, one of the things I really value is because we in this day and age now, we do see a lot of these players go on to try different shows, and we see some of the best players who have ever played the game they were in flop heavily in another game. Suri's skill set translates and transcends every game she's placed into. Like, this isn't a matter of, she literally every game she's been put in, she's been a winner contender. And to the point where you're like, how can one person be so skilled at that? So I think that she's going to be completely fine here. I think, we called Luke a safe pick. I think Suri's a safe pick to go far because when Suri's on a cast, you pick her simply because she has shown time and time again, outside of one rare season where she doesn't make it far, every other season she's endgame material every time.
Yeah. Not to mention, so actually, at the time of recording this, Dalton Ross put out a little bit of a tidbit with Suri where she responds to JLP, getting fired after this season. And she said that in anticipation for this, she got a VPN and she was binging Australian Survivor like nobody's business. And so if there was also anything that comes with the World Tribe of like, okay, do they know the games of any of these players? I think Suri would be quite familiar with at least a few of them and will be able to incorporate that into her own game. I'm also, for many reasons, very intrigued to see whatever happens to Suri on Australia versus the world and how that is going to affect her on 50, which is still an absolutely wild thing we need to think about, that Suri Fields is going to be playing 2 Survivor seasons over the next year.
Yeah, Suri's a great pick, obviously. I'm scared. I'd rather lose the draft than you guys be right, but I just don't want to jinx her with my incredibly bad draft record, right? And then I'm the reason she got screwed over by a twist I can't even fathom yet. So you guys take her, and then it's not my fault if it doesn't go well. But you have another pick?
Yeah, so can I announce this one then?
Go ahead.
Did you guys talk about this beforehand, or are you just allowing yourself?
We're in sync, okay? We got this whole thing.
We got mojo.
You're Professor Utonium. You brought the recap bitches together. Now we're a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Your mind reading is unfair.
So listen, I'm gonna kind of copy what my guy Chappell did and say, I was told I embodied this person when you had to make the picks. Parvati Shallow, welcome to the team. The world is just getting a nicer, bigger, better over here with Parvati on the team.
Yeah,
that was my next pick.
Nice guys finish first, hopefully, in this draft.
Yeah.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick because she's well connected. And I'm pretty sure it's possible that David's playing for her to win. So that's 2 people out of 14 that are playing for Parvati's victory. So that's a very good pick.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me with Parvati is that, obviously we've gotten a lot more introspection into her own, journey that she's gone through in her new book. And she did mention that Winners at War in particular, like it was kind of a weird headspace for her. She had just left her child behind. I think that Parvati has seen so much clarity in the past few years with all the shows that she's done, with all the life changes that she has made. And so I really do think she is like raring to go. I mean, when I spoke with her in her Dondi exit interview, I asked her, can you tease a little bit? And she's like, this is like, a new form of me. And that makes me incredibly excited because she obviously has the connection with Suri. She has the connection with David should a merge happen and they both make it. And I do feel like, yes, her legend looms large, but I actually think out of the 3 Americans, she has like the least notoriety to her name. And that's damning with faint praise. But like, considering that Tony won the game twice and Suri, again, consistently continues to do well, Parvati could just say like, yeah, but the last time I was on here, I got voted out like in the 5th episode and spent most of my time on the edge of extinction. Look at me. I flopped in Traders. What do you think that I'm going to do? And not to mention as well, like, somebody's got to win these individual immunity challenges. And Parvati, while it is a little bit of an older cast and she's older, like she has kept up such a good fitness regiment that, especially with those Australian Survivor challenges, which are so endurance coded, I could see her do really well there.
Yeah. And if you let her loose, I mean, we still have looming large over every season of reality TV, the dreaded Women's Alliance, right? The Black Widow Brigade. And if somehow Parvati's at the merge and she's talking to Sarah or Shawnee, Janine, Kirby, all of these women would be like, yeah, let's do it. I don't think any of them would be like, oh no, I would never work with Parvati. No, I think this is the type of women that she could bring together and really create like a massive alliance if she is able to get there and make it happen. So I think this is a great pick. It could have been our first pick. I wouldn't have been shocked if Parvati went first. But I'm so happy that we were the ones who got it.
This is a devastating blow to my draft team. I think that Sarah will be fangirling. Shawnee had a clip where she's like, I don't know anything about Survivor, but I've heard Parvati is great. Like there was a clip on the Survivor social media. I think Cass would be into it. Like I really love Parvati in that mentor role. Now that she's been playing Survivor for 20-ish years, she, is now like, oh, Shawnee, you have a small child. I also went out and played the game when I had like a tiny baby. Let me like coach you through how difficult that is. Like Sarah, I was around your age, actually quite a lot younger, I guess at this point. But like, when I first played, like she can see herself in these young women, kind of the way she mentored Michelle. And I feel like Cass, Sarah, Shawnee, possibly Kirby. She obviously has Suri. I think Elise would be into it. Like, I definitely see it in this female majority cast. Like, I think it's going to be like it's going to make the Black Widow Brigade look like nothing. Like it's gonna be the biggest spider you've ever seen, which is so apt for Australia.
Yes.
That the spiders are bigger in Australia. Like that's literally perfect, and they're terrifying, and they are here all the time. There are some outside my window right now. Actually, we need to call an exterminator, but not for Parvati, who is gonna have Australian level spider Black Widow Brigade. That's what I think. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, we can keep talking, but
it's
I think
that's just truism.
It's Parv. Like we can keep talking about her, but no, she's gonna do. She's great, and I'm hoping she does really great. And I feel like the last couple of shows I've seen her on, the Warren Survivor in Dondi, you saw her clock someone, and then that person proceed to work with her as opposed to want to get her out. And I think that's a testament to how she plays. I think on Traders, you couldn't have drawn a worse hand for a starting game there, but. She makes peace with the rivalry she had there with Sandra, and then proceeds to play from a losing position the rest of the way, and still makes it a lot further than she probably should have. So,
all right, that's a very good pick. That was going to be my next pick. Devastating. Looking at your team, I will go with one of the spiders. I will go with Sarah, who. My concern for some of these, like, quote unquote, smaller players is like how much they can up their reputation in a short amount of time. But Sarah's a predictable pick usually for what we say about like regular All-Star seasons, right? Like all of these other people will be taken out in a bloodbath and Sarah will be underrated and make it through to the end. Like before they went out to play, Sarah was my winner pick, but that has become more and more concerning for me in terms of just the like insane reputation of this cast. But I still think Sarah's a good pick and people don't remember. I mean, she played the longest time ago, right? She actually is not a career reality TV person, which is an anomaly of the season. So she's a little bit of an unknown to some people, and I think maybe they'll be caught unaware by the fact that she's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Sarah as my winner pick back in like Australian Survivor season 2, especially because yes, the mold had not necessarily been built yet, as you talked about Shannon, the parabolic woman, but like Sarah's career, I think, had her interfacing with so many different personality types. You know, she seemed very athletic as well. And again, she had a really deep cut in the game. Were it not her helping alongside Luke, pulling off this wild 3-2 mood, and Michelle Dugan getting real pissy about it, she could have made it further into that season. I think my only sticking point is what you mentioned before, and I will just call out right now, which is the meta of Australian Survivor, Australia versus the world. I believe fundamentally, no matter what the piece of criteria is for voting for a winner, it will always kind of lie at the core of like, who do you feel of the options best about as the winner to represent this season? And I do think, given A, the magnanimity of this concept, and B, the fact that there are so many legendary players on both tribes being brought back, if you are someone like a Sarah who we love, but certainly from like a spotlight perspective, pales in comparison to some of the other people, even on her own tribe, if you're sitting at the end with one of the Lions, it's going to be really tough to make an argument, in my opinion. You will have to have played circles around these people and be able to couch that argument to this jury to have these returning players believe like, yep, you definitely deserve it over the fact that these legends who had such big targets on their backs made it to the end again. So I have, like, in a vacuum, I would always back Sarah as a Survivor player, and I think she has the skills, especially this time, to do really well. I just really, unfortunately, see an outcome already where she makes to the final 3, final 2, and it's like, you played a really impressive game, but you got there with Luke, and I have to give it to Luke for getting to the end.
It is concerning. She'd have to play out of her skin, but that's what we're betting on right now. So
yeah. I enjoy watching Sarah. I enjoy watching her play. I'm very excited to see her back. But yeah, even if I'm on like her starting tribe, let's say I'm trying to keep the tribe strong, then I'm probably not going to go straight after David or Luke, but I might want to weaken them. And if that's the case, then I think Sarah's probably somebody who's easy pickings for something like that. I think
who's weakening them.
I mean, it has
They're
to
aligned
be
with everyone.
I mean, that's the thing. You have to take shots at someone. Has to go home, Shannon. It has to happen.
Yeah, it's not from the day contingent. No one's weakening that. That's just a very strong contingent.
I mean, unless you just think it's going to be like a straight off George, Shawnee, Kirby, boot list. I mean, those people also have things in their arsenal that could help. Idols and things of that nature. And I do think that if they're going to try to keep the tribe strong, I think she could be somebody who will be a victim to something like that.
If anything, if George has an idol, he's going straight for David. Like Sarah, I think could actually be like a good conduit in these groups. I think she'd get on really well with George and Shawnee and Kirby. I think she gets on really well with everyone. I think she gets
along with everybody.
Valuable, yeah. So I don't think that she's the one getting shots. Like I think that if there's any type of war, I think she's on a side that's winning. And if that side is losing, I don't think they're losing her. I think she's fine early. My biggest concern is, yes, if you're sitting next to David, Johnny, Suri, Pavi, Tony, whatever, does she win? Possibly not. But
probably not.
She's my draft pick now. So, yeah. Should I do my other pick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
I took a hyena. I will take a lion. I've called this man the nexus of the season. He is so insanely well connected that it's absurd. His island wife Parvati on the other tribe, who's connected to Suri, his best friend in Luke, let alone Janine, let alone his pregame relationship with Sarah from before he even played the first time. He's so well connected. And it's David. David is my pick. Now, can David win when that's so obvious? And he just won $9 million. And like, he's the main character. In this cast, I truly believe that David is the main character, which is a very, very high bar. He's probably about to go host the show. He's got to do well enough to host the show. I mean, if he wins again, that'd be a pretty good intro to probably hosting the show. And I've seen him win with a massive reputation before, and he's so well connected now. It would be absurd because how did you let that happen? And yet, crazier things have happened. So I'm going to pick David.
I actually don't think crazier things have happened. I think that if you let David win this game, that is insane. And I don't think he's somebody that you can actually stop if he wants to. Like, I think that once he starts going downhill, kind of like Tony, he gets momentum, he gets advantages and all this other stuff. David's going to be hard to catch. It's going to be impossible to catch up to him, and you don't want to sit next to him at the end. He's incredibly charming. He's good at challenges. He's probably going to find an advantage too. So you got to get him out relatively early. I think he's the main character, but Shannon, I think that's like a double-edged sword. Like, yeah, these people are all connected to him, but they also all know that he is the one that they should be worried about. He is the Beyonce of the group, and it would be crazy to allow that to stick around for so long. They're even his closest allies, Luke, Sarah. They should be talking to like, hey, if we're going to pull this out, we got to get rid of David. There's no way Luke won't know about the Parvati connection. Like, people are going to know. They didn't watch Dondi, but it's not like he's not going to go to his allies and tell them like, hey, once we get over there, I got good, like, things are going to come out. And I think that it's going to be very clear that he should be targeted. And I don't think it's going to be hard to get numbers against somebody like David. I think even the people closest to him, he's not a lion. He is a wolf. And like, that's the thing. Like, you see him and you're like, that guy is going to win if we don't get him out. And although they got away with it he got away with it in All-Stars. They didn't know. They had just seen him go out. They were like, okay, this man is
beautiful. They should have known.
Well, they did see him, to be fair, dupe fake idol swap and get voted out with an idol in his pocket.
They saw him get voted out with an idol in his pocket.
I was there. Okay, I wasn't there, but it was absurd. The biggest name coming into when they went out to All-Stars was the week before David was voted out of the show. The biggest name in Australian Survivor at that time was a man who had eaten popcorn off the floor, made a fake idol, like, done so many things. He should have been the first boot. It was absurd that he won. There were
winners playing, Shannon, and he was still a big threat that people, like you said, should have called out. These people are not going to miss that because some of them lost in that very game. Like, they're not going to do it twice. So yeah. I am David's probably one of his biggest fans. Just from my like Dondi time and all that kind of stuff. But it would be, to me, like, he is going to have to work some magic to make this happen. And don't get me wrong, I would love to see it because after, like, Survivor aside, the things that he was able to do on Dondi and that last episode of Dondi shows you that there is magic in this man.
There's magic.
Yeah. So I could see him going far, but also these people would be wild to let that happen.
Yeah. Go, Pooya.
I mean, I echo everything that's been said. I think Dondi reminds you that, David was a very fun character on television, and I'm glad Dondi brings him back into the fold. Obviously, before AU versus the World gets to happen. My thing, though, Shannon, is you're touting him as like the poster for the season. I definitely do see it, but also the feeling I have with posters on an all-star returnee season is, and when they're really good player, they're going to be looked at immediately at merge. Like, immediately emerge. So for me, David is someone who I think obviously he gets to the end, hard to not give him the money, hard to not vote him, but he has to get there. And I just feel like he is tall, he is big, he's gonna not be able to hide. No one's they're gonna see him coming. He's always gonna be the person, like the elephant in the room. He's there. He's just always there. They're gonna know to get rid of him. At least that's the read I have on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chappell brought up a good point that I absolutely agree with you, Shannon, that it was wild considering what these cast members just saw of David on All-Stars before going on. But they also saw that, like, David did get his hand caught in the cookie jar a little bit, to quote Luke's
Well, that was a different winner. That was
exactly. But it's this idea that, like, I mean, obviously they didn't know that he was voted out with an idol, but, like, I think their image of David was like, okay, he plays hard. I don't know, like, how well he plays. Like, he plays very openly. And so I think he was still able to, like, really overcome that and be able to work in certain ways. I think also, like, he has talked up the fact that he was basically a completely different person at camp than he was in the confessionals. And I think, like, that really endeared him to a lot of people. It's going to be a little different here because, as was mentioned, they know the score with David. Obviously, they will not have seen Dondi, but again, if and when the information gets out of what he was able to do. I mean, again, he was able to pull that off in Dondi, especially where he didn't reveal anything about his reality TV history, and he was just playing him up as like, yeah, I'm just like the cool Australian dad. I do not think the act will necessarily work here, but let's make one thing clear. The longer this guy is on our screens, the better. In a cast full of like absolute beautiful masterpieces of confessionalists, like, I don't know, he might be like the George Surratt, where he just dots all of these fantastic references and energies about him to make these fantastic sound bites. He knows what AU is going to provide. And so whether he lasts 1 episode or 15, they're going to go to him as much as possible.
Yeah, this is probably more of a question for Issa Look, but my question is, does he have highlights? And if he does, are those new since he played Dondi like a week ago? And also, if he wins, that's a crazy like 2 months of work for him, because that would be like he just came off winning $9 million in Dondi when he filmed this. But yeah, those new highlights, Chappell, he didn't have highlights, did he, in Dondi? You're the Dondi expert.
I am the Dondi expert, but I can't lie and say I cared about his hair and how it looked at the time.
I get it. I never noticed when people have nipple tattoos.
Yeah, okay. And so I don't know. I mean, look, the man is a showman. The fact that you would even consider like that, he between the taping of Dondi and this, he went and got highlights, and he's bringing that leather jacket. Like, that's why this man is great TV. He's electric as a player and as a showman. And so I would love to see him go far. I just think it would be very tough to pull the wool over these people's eyes again.
You know what I think it is? You remember when he had those braids and they were like a crime against nature? And I was like, I can't look at him until, because he was in, what do they call it? It's not the temple? Is it the temple? It's not like the turret.
Yes.
I'm like,
yes,
the Banker's Temple,
I've watched so much
the Banker's
reality
Temple.
TV lately. When I was 10, I went to Fiji and I got my hair braided. And then like the sun dyed the bottom half of my hair that wasn't braided. And so the bottom half of my hair was blonde, and then I had to cut it all off. Maybe that's what happened to David. Maybe like the hair, maybe because of the braids, they got dyed blonde.
No.
I mean, I'm looking at photos of him on Dondi. It was blonde all the way down.
It was blonde.
It was blonde in Dondi?
It was blonde in Dondi? But it wasn't as
blondie.
Blonde. It was blonde, but it wasn't as dark.
No
like
way.
there's not dark at the top. Yeah, it was all blonde. He was like Fabio.
There's no way I watched that whole season and didn't notice that he was blonde.
The whole time.
I'm meant to be working in the hair industry. How little did I? Anyway, okay.
Yeah,
Well, you learn something new every day.
It looks like this is the David we got. This is the David we gonna get.
Okay. Well, blonde David is my pick, and now you have 2 picks. Give them to me.
Oh God! Okay, are you mugging us right now?
Give them to me.
Do the pick.
Just say it. All right, so let's go with first one here. Listen, we picked 2 World, 2 True Blood Americans.
Oh my God! I've done a whole Australia try. I didn't even know on purpose.
Well, we're gonna be the first to cross streams here, Shannon Guss, on this multicultural.
Did you guys talk about
podcast
this beforehand? How are you doing
Yes.
this?
No.
I can't. Do you have a chat without me?
No.
No.
Good.
We're just mind melding right now.
Yeah.
Good.
And I think the person we should pick next is an Australian that could certainly be regarded as a hyena, is someone who certainly looms large and does well in every season that they're in. But I can't get enough Shantent in my life. So clip in, fellas. We're picking Shawnee.
Yes. I love our team.
We didn't have to talk about this beforehand because Shannon, how is this not the most obvious pick on the board? What are you talking about?
Shawnee is an enemy, possibly, of the person I just called a main character.
Shawnee is a queen of this entire franchise. Okay, look, I told you. I remember when I discovered her as one of the first people to ever watch Australian Survivor and notice this woman.
That was original.
What was it,
Chappell
Chappell? When did you? What year was this? That you were
It was definitely last year.
It was last year.
Yeah,
oh my
it
God.
was definitely last year.
So Chappell came 6 years late to the party and then tweeted
3 seconds of that lady and was like, "Who is this? Why is she not? Why do y'all like her?" And the world responded, not AU versus the world, but everybody responded. Was like, "You don't understand what you just did. You just opened like the Shawnee, the Shanverse or whatever they called it." And I was like, "Oh my God, like everyone's here. She's great. She's great TV. She's great. She's a great game player. She finds advantages. What is not to like about Shawnee?"
Yes. What is not to like? Her position in this tribe, her connections compared to the crazy connections I see on the row below her here. I mean, Shawnee is playing with George, who just voted her out. and then David, who she worked against, and those are her in all of her many, many, many games. Those are her game connections. I think she'll get on with people because that's what Shani does. But I just think that it's not necessarily her cast. I think she'd get on well with Parvati if she gets there. I think that she'd get on well with Cass if she gets there. I see all those things. I'm just like, she's not positioned as well for me as you would think someone like Shani would be, considering she's played many games and made many positive relationships.
You're telling me that, like, me personally, I think that this is a good cast for her. And it all comes down to this. I agree with what you said about her having some good allies waiting for her on the other side that she could link up with. But you just mentioned George and David, arguably two of the biggest names in your franchise. George being one of the more recent big names. That man is not going to get one over Shani here.
Oh no,
I think Shani's going to get her revenge immediately.
That is true, of course.
I think
Yeah.
absolutely she can easily join in on a vote against George. I think, we can certainly talk about a vote against Kirby. And again, if this pre-merge is like 2 days, or if they only lose one challenge, if any, in the pre-merge, then she's made the merge, and we know what Shani can do when the merge hits. Not to mention, again, it's a little bit of like the most recent time that we saw her was her worst placement, where she gets blindsided with an idol in her pocket. So it also, if there is any sort of like gleam on her reputation, it's not certainly shining as bright as some of the people around her, which is to their folly. Because again, I have spoken about this many times in the past. I cannot think of a Survivor player in franchise history who has been able to like have the social game told more in her story than Shani. They've shown so many scenes through the years of her just like sitting down and pretending to be interested in someone's bird watching hobby and be like, all right, I'm going to weaponize this later on. And she was able to. And look, it's going to be tough in a cast like this that will probably be clocking it from her. But I do think that, much like we talked about with Suri, we're going to try to manifest this here, that arguably alongside George, one of the best players to never win Australian Survivor so far, the fourth time might be the charm.
Yeah, it is funny because I feel like Shani's relationship with Survivor is they just keep calling her, and she's like very lukewarm on Survivor. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that dating relationship is she is like the settler and Australian Survivor is the reacher, constantly being like, I think I'm getting like all of these How I Met Your Mother clips, and it's like trying to get me to watch How I Met Your Mother on Instagram. Anyway, so I'm like now in my references, but I do feel like, Shani does Shani watch the seasons she's not on, the very few seasons she's not on? Like, I don't think so. Does she know these people that she didn't play with? I don't think so. But Shani learns on the fly. And she literally said on Instagram, she's like, I go out there to get paid. It's a job for me. And it's a job she does well. So I think it's a fine pick. But yeah, I'd be higher on Shani if this wasn't like such a David-dominated cast for me. But she's good.
Here's my counter to that. Like, if she let's follow the world where she doesn't really know these people because she's not really watching seasons outside of the season she lives. She's not on them. She doesn't mind. I think that Shani is someone who plays a very willingly open game, that it's almost better that she's not scared of anyone else's prowess or what they're capable of, because she just sees them as regular people. And I think that's good. If she's going to soul read somebody and be like, I just vibe with them and that's good enough for me to want to work with them, that's great. I think that goes a long way. And again, she's bubbly, socially bubbly. Like, if you're socially bubbly, I will follow you to the ends of the earth. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's not going to be held back by like her nerves and meeting Suri and Parvati. You know what I mean? It's like very much like, nice to meet you. Who are you? So I'm excited to see those conversations happen. Do you have another pick now? Yes. Who is your
Mike's gonna make this pick.
Oh, you want me to do it? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to think that the Shani pick was like all three of us like mind meld same pick.
Yeah.
So this one is a Mike one.
All right, then. It might be a decision you regret, fellas, but like, how can I not? Shannon, you know how much I love Survivor South Africa. How can I not pick Rob Bentley here? So, Chappell, I know that you have been recently making your way through Survivor South Africa. Have you gotten to Rob's season yet?
I started with Rob's season. I love this man. I'm so happy we have him on our team.
That was a bad decision.
I love it. No, it was great. It was a great decision. I totally enjoyed this season. My guy is so social. He's so good at just locking people into his web of just like, no, we're a family. We're good at this. We're gonna take this to the end. I think a lot of people especially the world will be looking for that kind of energy. They're going to be wanting to lock down, some type of alliance that they can trust against this big, massive group of Australians. And I think that Rob's the perfect person to lead them. He's a challenge beast. Okay. And then I think if he sits at the end next to somebody, he will be looked at as a lion. I don't think that people are going to look at him and be like, oh,
well, he is from the place where lions live. Yeah.
Exactly. Mike.
Lions live.
I love this. I love this pick, Mike. This is great.
Yeah, for me, again, I have said it up and down. I will continue to say that I believe Rob Bentley played the best single season game of Survivor I have ever seen, considering that he had to contend with so many idols and advantages going his way and was able to literally weaponize the titular twist of the season. He is not going to run into a group that is certainly as loyal as the Amigos here. I think that is the biggest sticking point for Rob, is that he was very much able to corral this group around this idea of a shared morality, shared set of values. This is going to be a much sharkier cast by comparison. The thing that's so interesting about Rob to me, though, he is a bigger guy compared to a David, compared to a Luke. He's right up there. But the thing about Rob is that he's got this very soft way of speaking, and he's got these very kind eyes. And that's one of the many reasons why you get sucked into the Rob Riz. And so I think that, especially in comparison to these big, brash personalities that are going to exist coming from these alpha males, he's not going to come across as like the capital A alpha male that will probably get picked off at the early merge ordinarily. But he still has the skill set to be able to make these subtle manipulations. And I think especially figure out who are the biggest obstacles to my game and how do I dismantle them. I think that was one of the best tenets of Rob's game in general, was he had this majority and he was able to figure out like, who are the problem people and how do I sort of, poke out the Jenga pieces in a certain way to make sure it doesn't all topple down. And I think especially given the shortened cast, this could be another way for him to do so.
You do know that, like, on the mat day one, JLP's like, Rob, you played one of the most dominant games in Survivor history. I think that's like, no one will know, but they'll know that. They'll also look at him with their eyes and things will become obvious. So that he's such an like aesthetic threat and a genuine threat without the connections to necessarily protect him. But I do think that he will, like, if he can make it to the Davids and the Lukes, I kind of think that like he and David, I could see getting on and having that like mutual respect. And there's
gonna be like a Spider-Man meme pointing at each other.
Yeah, well, and Tony with the 3 best games, as we said, because Chappell and I spoke about with that 9 months of like, is it just because I started podcasting a couple of years ago and I'm looking into this deeper, or like, are these the 3 best games in Global Survivor history? It's so insane to have all 3 of them on the season. But yeah, I think that there will be a mutual respect there with Rob, and yeah, he's an incredible player. So he has the skills, like many of these people, to be fair, but he is phenomenal. So can't be mad at the pick.
I would love to hear him on the mat when JLP asked him that question, because Rob is a wizard. He sat at those tribal councils the entire season like, no, there's no pecking order here. We're just a family. We're all good here. So JLP says that, he's going to say, who hasn't? Who among us hasn't played the most dominant game? True. And JLP's going to be like, Rob, that's good. I like that. Like, I'm so high on Rob. He's so fun. This is going to be incredible.
Yeah. What do you think, Pooya? What do you think of that pick? Did Mike do okay?
Oh, our team is 4 out of 4. We're firing all cylinders. I'm very happy with the picks.
It's a very rootable team.
Yeah, I've also watched Rob's game. I remember being very fond of his game, very fond of that season. It admittedly has been many a year and many a show since. So it's a little foggy to my memory, but just hearing these two talk about him, I'm being reminded of Rob again.
I also think Rob would be the one most likely because, again, he came up with an advantage to try to dissuade people from turning on him. I can imagine being like, I just found a scroll. There's a new twist tonight where we have to vote 3 people off. Here's what we have to do. Just concoct an entire plan. Around a fake advantage just to show the pecking order to other people.
Well, yeah. So Rhea would be the one to get screwed by Rob's fake advantage. Like, wait, no, why are you adding this into the game? I'm making it up. No, and then actually, that's what a Strand Survivor would do. Okay, I think I'll take my picks now, and I feel like I have not picked someone from the World Tribe, and I will continue to stay Australia strong, I think, because I'm very high on many people in the World Tribe. Tony already is there. He's one of my favorite players of all time. I love Lisa. I just watched so much of Tommy and Cass, and I think they're great. However, they're just so Tony is Tony. We'll talk about Tony. Tony's like Tony's, you know, I underestimate your own peril, and yet I continue to. And then the others are just so disconnected in a way the Australians are not. And for that reason, I will pick Kirby. Kirby comes off, you know, the most recent Australian Survivor season that everyone will have seen. She's less experienced than many of these, you know, career reality TV contestants. But I think she probably learned some lessons. She has some innate skills and made some, you know, confusing decisions. And she was playing with house money, like, and she could recover from that. She made it incredibly far. She's incredibly physical. She's charming AF. Everyone loves her. I think she'll take some people by surprise. She is connected to Luke. Will she know these people? No. But the Luke connection is important because he is so connected. And Kirby just has great skills for the game. And I think more people will know of her. Maybe not the other way around. More people will know of her than like the Tommies and the Cass. And I think that will stand her in good stead. So she is my next pick.
Yeah, I think that Kirby is going to have my Surrey assessment tested here of like, can she make it happen again? Because what she did that first time was bananas. There were so many times where we're like, why are you doing this? How are you able to pull this off? Surely this is going to get you in trouble. And it only really did towards the end when she basically had to win out. And the time that she didn't, she was eliminated. And I don't think she's like completely dead in the water here. I think that, yes, she's disconnected and her reputation precedes her. But the thing about disconnected players in all-star seasons is like, it really can be a double-edged sword where they can be the ones that are easily cast out because it's like, you know, it's like Randy Bailey and Heroes versus Villains where it's like, you have no one connected to your tribe. Let's get rid of you. Or it could be, if this tribe has bad blood, Kirby could suddenly be a number that you could scoop up, right? It could sort of be a neutral party that you don't know from a hole in the wall, but at least it's not a completely negative reputation. And that is very much a like, underestimate her at your own peril. Because as you mentioned, she is no slouch physically. She can charm the pants off of you. And strategically, she was able to plan some of these, again, completely wild moves that should not have worked 99 out of 100 times, but she was able to make that happen. She sucks up the game like the pink puffball of the same name, and hopefully that's going to transform her into something really fun.
Yeah, and she is more of a hyena compared to this cast. I mean, she only just started playing reality TV like within the year, you know, compared to everyone else. However, she's that recent on Australian Survivor, which people, assumedly some of them watched. A couple of them may have watched, maybe. And I think that the recency of that is like, if she goes far again, you're like, wow, this is impressive. She did this twice in a year. So I think that could be good against some of the other bigger names.
Yeah, I mean, she was the main character, arguably, of Titans versus Rebels. Like, I think that's maybe what the hyena perspective means. It's less so about like, were you the winner? Were you a dominant player? It's more so like, were you the star of your season? And she 100% was.
I also, for a long time, have been trying to cause the divorce of Pooya and Liana because I think that their draft group is unfair from an ally perspective. And I'm just imagining the conversation after this where Liana's like, did you get Kirby? And Pooya's like, oh, no, we didn't. And Liana's like, why? And he's like, well, it's not my fault. I was mind melding with my team and they made the decision. And she's like, no, you had the power to do that. And then they have a big fight. Maybe the end of that relationship happens. So there's a larger draft strategy around that I've been working on for a very long time.
Babe, did you get Kirby? No. We did get Suri, Parvati, and Shawnee. Wow. Shannon, let you have them? Yes.
No, she'll be mad about Kirby. I think I know Liana better than you do. I think
we're about to renew our vows over this, Shannon.
Yeah.
Hold hands over this video of this draft podcast.
No, I don't think so. I think I would text her, but my texts aren't getting through to her, so I'll just have to take your word for it. But there's trouble in paradise. I think that she's gonna be pretty upset. So I took Kirby. Any other thoughts on Kirby?
Oh yeah.
I worry for, listen.
Oh, you worry for Liana? You hearing this? Okay, it's fine.
As someone who has said and still maintains that Titans vs. Rebels is my favorite Survivor season of all time,
yes.
No contest. I worry for Kirby because Kirby arguably has the most recent record here, the most recent record on display. So I worry for her in that regard, where a lot of these other people, like, you know, I'm sitting here talking about how, yeah, Rob, I loved him, watching him. I don't remember him as much now. You're going to remember Kirby's because it was like the last one that happened for these people.
They kind of know of it, but they didn't
Are
watch
you
it.
joking? How do you know this?
Okay, George watched it because we covered on Talking Tribal together.
Yeah.
Did Shawnee watch it? I know in fact, I remember her posting that she was watching Married at First. I'm sure that so Shawnee did it. I think she was having a kid and so Shawnee didn't watch. Sarah
Luke
probably
watched
watched. Janine, did Luke probably watch?
I mean,
David
That's his
the tough
friend.
thing is, though, from a world perspective, if you're saying, oh, I better binge Australian Survivor, I'll just start with the most recent season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's a fun watch. To me, Kirby's a great pick. Kirby's like a wrecking ball sometimes, but it's because Kirby has that same magic I think that David has, where it's like you think these things aren't possible, and then Kirby does it, and you're like, damn, how'd you do that? And then you also are like, but it would be crazy for me to let you get to the end. My favorite moment of Type V Rebels is when Kirby's like, well, I guess I'll just have to win the next 5 challenges. And then she goes on to win, 3? I was like, wait a minute. Like, this is that's unheard of. She called her shot, but that's a Kirby-ism. So no, I agree that Kirby should be on our team, but I'm happy that you got something.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kirby has that aura. Unfortunately, also a lot of people in this class do. And that's why we won't be qualifying it that hard.
If Ava was painting this cast, it would be a whole rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I'll stick with the Australia tribe. I'm going to take Janine. Janine is the godmother. I love Janine. And she does have the issue where I think David might be coming for her. But if someone's coming for David and who might win, it could be Janine. She's well connected in this cast. She's so cool. And I think the thing with Janine, and I don't know if we talked about this on the Janine podcast, but it's hard for Janine to win Survivor because she's very wealthy. But how much money are they winning in the season? We still don't know. Have they ever announced how much money they're winning in this season?
Is there any money? Is it just is
there a prize, or are they
you pay us? Actually, we're all gonna go pass a hat around. We're all gonna collect $100,000 from you,
from David especially. I think that is how much money are they winning? How do we not know that yet? Anyway, Janine, of all the seasons, we don't know how much money they're winning. And also, I think that it'll be it's not about the money. You win the title of AUV World. And Janine has a big reputation just in life. I think that she could be a lion from that perspective. And I think people forget, as Pooya's saying, because it was kind of a long time ago, the way Janine played and the respect that she commanded. Now, we've said that if she wins, it'll be probably a kind of stagnant, boring season because that's Janine. She kind of rules with an iron fist. And I think that that's amazing for her. And I could see it happening. So I'm going to take Janine here at this pick.
I think this is the first time in the draft that I felt like you stole a pick from us. This is the first time I felt that way.
Thank you. Not for Kirby.
Yeah.
Hear that, Liana?
Yeah,
Not
so
Kirby.
I did message Liana. I said, babe, so if I told you that Shannon drafted Kirby and I couldn't get her, but I have Parvati, Shawnee, and Suri on my team, how would you respond to that? She replied, and I'm quoting, oh yeah, that's fine, LOL. I said, okay, is that your official response? And she said, yes.
Huh.
I don't believe you.
Marriage saved.
Wow, you guys are stronger than I thought, but that's fine. I just have to work harder. I'll get it done. We'll see.
I'll get you next time, my pretty.
Yeah. That's fine. I'm willing to go to the ends of the earth for this. So it's not fair that they get to be a couple in the whatever. They clearly have an alliance. Either they have to get divorced or I have to marry one of the drafters.
Ooh,
so I'm just saying.
Okay, hold on. What if
And I don't want to have to do that.
I'll text
Janine?
Peter. We'll talk. Okay, so anyway,
you'll marry Peter. That's not gonna.
Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Listen, are you open to a third?
Chappell said, so you're saying that Peter will be available after
there are 3 of us.
There we go.
There's 3 of
DMs.
us. Nobody said there can't be 3 of anyway. So here's my thing.
Okay.
I think that Janine has a really good chance in this game. I think that if she gets to the end, it will be a respected person. A respected win. I think that she sits there, and I think depending on how many of these Aussies make the jury, and who knows how big the jury is, but there are a lot of them, and they can vote
They should
as a
all
block.
be on the jury. Can we
Yeah,
talk about
everyone
that?
should
Maybe GLP says it on the mat good news, you've all made the jury.
They should I
honestly,
usually hate that.
I mean, Chappell,
you
you before we came on, you compared the schedule to Celebrity Big Brother, and that's what they did. Every single person was on the jury.
Honestly, it wouldn't be the most unheard of thing. It's not that many of them. So what do you cut 2-3 people and be like, all right, this is jury. What?
Yeah, I agree.
Whatever. So, but that's what I'm saying. The Aussies are not gonna have any issues voting for Janine. I think she's almost like an icon in Australia. I think that if she makes it to the end, it's gonna be incredible to see because she's is she the oldest person in the cast?
I think
Yeah, and so I was like, but she like the money. I don't think it matters. I think the fact that she would even take the time to come out here and just like be bothered with this game, it goes to show you that it's bigger than the money. It's about the competitive nature of Janine, and I don't think I would write her off at all. Pooya's right. I think that like this is a steal. I think we definitely were going to pick her if we could have, because I could just see it now sitting next to a bunch of these people. I could see Janine as a winner contender, even though she might not be the biggest lion amongst them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like if for some reason we forecast something where, you know, the quartet that's on that second row there makes it to the merge, like David's probably going first, maybe Luke goes second in terms of the pecking order. I don't know. Then between like Sarah and Janine probably has, and this is the thing that Janine brings that I'm really excited about, is like she brings authority to the game. And I think that's just because of like the natural leadership sense that she has in life. She has played probably the least amount compared to everybody else on this season, let alone on the Australia tribe. But because she is so, you know, renowned in her business, like she still walks with that heft to her. I mean, listen, look at the Celebrity Apprentice where David was a contestant and Janine was an advisor. She was on the other side of that table adjudicating this man and his efforts. What if this season's for charity? Wouldn't that be wild? But
why do we not know how much money they're winning? They should tell us how much. Do you think it's a really small amount of money?
I don't know. Like I'm sure like you give them an appearance fee and then make it for charity. I don't know. This is tough because well, I mean, here's the thing. Some of them have never seen the amount of money that some of them have won. You know, like you don't really have to make the pot that sweet for some of these people because their seasons were playing for pennies compared to like some of these other seasons. I mean, Tony won $2 million in one season. So
David won $9 million, but then Tommy had the chance to win 30,000 euros and didn't. So
I'm like, what do you do? Do you make it 2 mil? Do you say like
no? It's not 2 mil for 2 weeks. Right, that'd be crazy. We don't have that kind of money at Channel 10.
But like, where do we go? Fired. So it's kind of like, are you like Tony and Parvati are doing this for 500K? Like, where are we doing?
I think everyone should have to put in a percentage of their winnings.
Ooh.
From reality TV.
So you're basically arguing for like a tax bracket.
Yeah. Like if you haven't won anything, you don't have to put in money. But if you won, 3 million, Tony's won, 9 million, David's won, Parvati's won $1 million, Cere's won some. I think if you won a small amount of money and Luke, they raised the money, then I think that you put in a percentage from like a tax. Is this a good? Is this good? Is this economics? I don't know. What were we saying about Janine, though? Oh, if Janine wins, free boost juices for everyone, I think, in Australia. Do you think she does? I think so. I think it's like free boost day for everyone. And I think that would be cool.
I was very surprised in her first season that she did not get a sponsorship in there. I have to imagine she's going to try to. I don't know if they're doing reward challenges on this season. Like, I don't know if they're going the whole new era round. They're like, you're only playing for 2 weeks, so no food from beginning to end. But maybe it's no food, but they can only subsist on Boost Juice for the entirety of the season.
Can you imagine how weird it would seem if it was like, okay, the sponsor is Boost Juice, you can go to the Boost Reward. People would be like, wait, she's literally bought the season? That's concerning. Like, was this like what?
Rigged.
Yeah. I think Janine is a good pick. She was very physical as well. I think people kind of forget that about Janine. I like this pick.
No, she's in great shape especially for like 59 years old. Like she can whoop the tail off of some of these kids.
Yeah, I think this is, and you say that she hasn't played as much. She's played as much as like a Kirby, a Sarah, Cass, Tommy, Lisa, Rob. That's most of the cast. So.
Yeah, I guess I meant like so long ago and being so detached from, as we talked about before with Luke, like technically it's weird to say, but like she played in the first half of SurvivorAU's modern run.
The first era. Yeah. But she's been on TV a lot. She's just usually like a judge. Like it's crazy that she like debases herself to play Survivor for us. We're all very, very lucky that Janine Ellis has cared to do this 2 different times. Wonderful. Who else are you guys gonna pick? Do you want to do your mind melding thing right now?
I think we could probably all agree. We don't have to talk it out too much.
Yeah. I just checked. I think we're gonna be on the same page.
Yeah.
You'll have a chat without me for sure.
No.
What?
There's not that many people left. If it's me, based on the people that I know, I think I like unknown quantity for me. Okay, because
Should we set up who's
Wild
left
card,
for the people?
wild-
Yeah. Why you
Yeah.
set it up, Shannon? Because we're
Okay,
in the
so
last
we've-
what, like 2-3 rounds at this point.
I think we have 5 people left. We have George. George is the only person from the Australian tribe that's left because I took 5 of the 6 people that have been taken.
Again,
We
you're
have
not a
Tony.
traitor.
We have yes, and I didn't take Suri the trader. I took Luke the trader. Tony, Lisa, Tommy, and
Faithful.
Cass and George are the 5 picks available. You will get 2, then I will get 2, and then you will get the last pick. I got there. It's been an hour, but I worked it out. So that will be the snake draft. So who are you taking to leave 3 picks left on the board?
Yeah, Mike, tell me about Tommy. I'm getting a good vibe from Tommy.
Well, I'll communicate to you what was communicated to me by Shannon Guss. But Tommy played on Survivor Finland. He's a very good all-around player. He was regarded probably as the most gamey out of his cast. He did, win some clutch immunities when he needed to. Seemed to be fairly well-liked overall. But he makes it to the end of the game, and I think just due to the relationships and specifically the story of the person he was sitting next to, where, again, Tommy mostly led from the top with one large exception. The person he lost to was pretty much an underdog for the entirety of the game, got a one over on Tommy to get rid of his closest allies. And so Tommy puts forward a very good game, but loses in a tight jury vote. So I would say if we were to put our heads together and pick, especially of the 2 unknowns, someone who probably has the capacity to somehow put together a game to surprise everybody, it probably is Tommy.
That was pretty good, Mike. You really listened to that podcast. You buried the lead, though, that the jury vote was 3-3, but the other guy had won an advantage to give someone 2 jury votes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But to be
Wild.
fair,
What the what?
someone had, it was, and also the way they got to the final 3 was through a challenge, the 2 top challenge people, and then the third, it was, anyway, but someone quit at the final 4 for the second time. She was a returnee who had quit at the final 4 before, being like, no, you guys deserve it more. Then people were mad because she got included again, and then she quit. She didn't get any votes, and she just straight up quit, so they removed her from the jury, so it was a 6-person jury, and it was 3-3, and then Sammy, the guy who won, he had an extra jury vote. But to be fair, the person who quit probably would have voted for him. So it didn't make me as angry as you think. But
okay.
isn't that wild? Survivor Finland was wild.
That's wild. That's wild. I'm going with Lisa. I think Lisa is our pick.
What did Mike say that made you anti-Tommy?
I'm not anti-Tommy. We still have other picks, but I want a winner on our team. I want another winner. I think that Lisa is incredible. I am a big fan of Lisa as a person. I've had the joy of meeting her in real life, and I would love to see somebody who is a true super fan of this game. Like somebody who has studied the game, somebody who is in our very own RHAP community do well, somebody who won Survivor wearing an RHAP bell shirt. Okay.
Yeah.
How can we live with ourselves if we didn't have one of our own on our team? And as Lisa's clearly her closest friend here on the panel, I'm happy to be able to say the words that we have Lisa on our team.
Yeah, we haven't hung out with her
aside.
in the last while, but she's on our team because we love her and we respect
We love her.
I'm
And
going to
respect
text
her.
Lisa and ask who she likes the best of the 4 of us.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
And then
lead
you
with-
know who drafted her.
Shannon,
lead with
ask her to
Chappell.
rank. Ask her to rank. Let's have her name names.
Yeah. Oh,
Right. And also
cuss
lead
here?
with
Yeah.
Chappell just drafted you. Who do you like the most?
No, I'm not going to tell her who drafted her.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but
I'm
get
just
us the ranking. Get us the ranking.
I don't know if she'll immediately get back to me, but
Well,
I did say, who do you like best? Rank us, me, Chappell, Pooya, or Mike.
Ready, go. And but that's the thing. I love Lisa. I know she is a student of the game. I know that she is, if you want to talk about hyenas, she is one of the most hyena people on here because a lot of them have never seen her season of television. And so they are going to vastly underestimate this woman. And that would be a mistake because she played a great game when she won. And she was up against a lot. She was up against, y'all, if you're listening to this, no, I know that double vote jury thing sounded crazy for Tommy. Lisa was up against 2 people who knew each other who didn't even know that they were going to be on the same season. Nobody knew that these
International
people knew each
Survivor
other.
is as crazy as people say.
That is
Wild.
crazy. She is up against 2 people who know each other, who had no clue that they were going to be on the same season. And she got them to flip on each other. She got one of them to turn on somebody he had known since grade school.
And not only that, vote out the person who had the idol that they found together and got rid of it with it in his pocket.
Lisa's a shark, man. I'm sorry. I'm so happy we picked her.
Yeah, I think that we are at a point right now where, let's face it, with no offense to this lovely quintet of people, these are probably people that are likely to not win the game compared to earlier picks. But I would say out of that group, Lisa is probably the most likely. To your point, Chappell, I think from a personality perspective, Lisa is sweet as all get out, but she is definitely more of an introvert, especially compared to, again, a lot of the personalities around her. I do think if she gets to a final 3, she could say, I'm a previous winner. I'm 2 for 2 in making it to the final tribal council here. Not to mention, again, she is someone who we've talked about this before on our podcast, Shannon, was sort of cast, I imagine, in sort of the Adam Klein in Winners at War role of like the audience analog. Oh my God, this is so incredible. All these people are sharing a beach together. But I think that also allows her to be able to clock people's games as well. If it's like, oh, I know how this person played, she'll be able to kind of, I think, fill in the blanks of like, if the Australia and world tribes don't know a lot about each other, Lisa is kind of the bridge in between that and can use that information however she wants to.
The issue is Lisa is so normal. Like, usually when you say that people on reality TV are normal, it's with the caveat of like, for a reality TV contestant. Like, Lisa is a normal human being by any standard, not even just reality TV standard. Like, these people will not know what to do with her. They will underestimate her so hard, but I don't know if they'll ever get to the point of estimating her. Like, I don't know if she'll get to the end and they'll understand what Lisa is doing. She's very smart. She's very considered. She loves the game. It was very intentional, the way that she won. She made one of the best moves of all time. Will they see that in Lisa? Or will they be like, you're the most normal person I have ever met. And I'm Tony and I'm screaming. You know what I mean? Like, she's just so normal. It's actually kind of funny. Like, like seeing her as like the straight man of the season, like seeing the season through her eyes, being out there with like the Tonys and the Georges, could be like a sitcom, really. And that makes her an outlier that actually might make it really difficult for her to win. But I love Lisa. I'm sure she likes me the best. She hasn't gone back yet, but
she would have got back to me.
You could completely fabricate the rankings without us knowing, right?
She says me first.
I don't know if I'm not
big
first.
Gap, then Mike.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm not first.
All right, you have one more pick, and then you're gonna get left with a pick at the end.
Pooya, I trust you.
We picked Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one pick we've made.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the thing. I know that we are in a no-loss situation, meaning whichever one of these two that I'm looking at that I pick, I think you'll both be okay with me doing.
Wait, do we have the grenade rule? What are the rules of this draft?
No, I think when it's only 2 teams, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
No, but then the odds of you having someone else in the final tribal council is incredibly high. I think we should do it.
No.
What? No.
Yes.
You're
Sam?
outvoted.
Mid draft, we're not doing it.
Well, no, I'm not outvoted because we're 2 teams. I as a team say yes. You as a team say no, Sam.
You know what, gentlemen? I've made my pick.
Yeah.
Grenade rule.
Listen, I lived my life, 10 years of it in this country. I cannot leave a Canadian on the board. I want to take Cass over and bring her on the team. Now, I say this because my knowledge of Cass begins and ends with she's Canadian. So please educate me on the pick we just made and tell me we hit gold here. Please.
Sam is saying we should do the grenade.
No,
there's 2 teams. This
not
makes
what he said.
sense.
That's literally
No
why
one
would
knows what
you
he
lie
said.
like that?
That's not a grenade. That's shooting at someone from across the foxhole.
But the odds of you having someone else in the final tribal council is incredibly high. And it could be me. Why am I arguing this like you definitely have the grenade?
All that's doing, that grenade rule would be okay, so now all that matters is your 50-50 of having 2 at final 3 instead of 1 at final 3. If you have any at final 3.
I hope there's no final 3. You have 14 players. Come on.
That's the other thing. Yeah, what happens if the grenade rule with the final 2? Yikes. Yeah, no.
It'll be a final 3. There's so few episodes in so few days.
Yeah, I just don't like, I don't know, maybe it's like inherent in the versus theme to have a final 3 because you ultimately want that sort of like showdown between,
I agree.
like we saw in Titans versus Rebels to be like,
be
and Titans versus heroes versus villains, and Jerry's there too.
Well, Survivor Quebec had a final 3 in 67 episodes, so people will do anything to have a final 3.
And
even though it's the worst
Cass was in that final 3.
Yes,
and
Mike, tell Pooya what you learned from me about Cass.
I love book
doing
reports.
this little test.
Okay,
yeah.
So Cass essentially is Canadian Amanda Kimmel. We could call her Amanda Kimmel. So Cass is somebody who
Perfect.
was able to benefit from the fact that she largely did not go to tribal council in the pre-merge, and was also able to benefit from the fact that her entire opposition was just a shit show of voting out each other's number one allies, voting out all the strong people. You know, there was a whole mismatch swap thing that essentially created like the one world swap, where one tribe was it was literally David versus Goliath, and David lost time and time again. Now, the thing is that Cass did have a moment in the post-merge where she does lose an ally and was actually a bit on the bottom, but she was able to cross these tribal streams and bring together a couple of people that were pissed off at one of their former tribe mates, and able to collaborate together and make a new fivesome. Not to mention, Cass is apparently incredible at endurance. I would maybe venture a guess that she could be a challenge beast if she does make it to the post-merge, which might work for and against her. The major red and white and maple leaf laden flag with Cass is the fact that she willingly went to the finals with her closest ally, who beat her handily. She is a 0-vote finalist, and when asked why she would do that, did she think about cutting her ally earlier, she stood 10 toes down and said, I wanted to beat the best in the end. And arguably, she got beat by the best.
Okay, I love how much you listen to me. The listeners should still listen to these podcasts. There's more context there. We talk about how there was a pre-merge rock draw, snap edge of extinction. You want to know what happened with Bayani, which was not Cass's tribe. And Mike, you hear me, you see me. That was great. That was 10 out of 10. Thoughts now, Pooya, that you know the Cass story? Like, wild to take the pick before asking for it, but what do you think now?
I'm very happy. He said Canadian Amanda Kimmel. I was in.
You said Canadian.
Listen, getting to the end of a season is already a very important feat. Just to then find out she was also on the bottom a little bit, and then manage to pivot out of that position to get to the finals, and then yes, takes their best ally to the end, go against the best, gets beaten by the best. You gonna make the same mistake twice? Maybe, but
maybe. I'm
still happy with what we have on our team.
And also, she did say I could never have voted against him because she like emotionally could never have done it. But yeah.
Well, the good news is there is not enough days here for her to have that connection with anybody here, so we should be okay. The cutthroatness should be a little bit more prevalent here.
I mean, what's also very interesting is she will have played, I think, the most recently out of anybody here. She played on last year's version of Survivor Quebec. And so there is something to, I think, like keeping the heart rate up, right? Like kind of jogging in place when you're at a crosswalk before the light turns green, where like she knows how to subsist on the elements. And look, again, that might pale in comparison in the grand scheme of things because they're probably only playing for 2 weeks. But like, if you're talking about somebody who's like warmed themselves up in the waters of the Survivor pool, it's not going to be a cold splash back in for Cass. You know, her body's already kind of acclimated to it.
Yeah, Cass is a well-rounded player. She's strategic, she's physical, she's social. Everyone liked her. Like everyone she met pre-merge wanted to work with her. She's really nice. But I just worry about the killer instinct. Like she had every opportunity to take out that ally. She had an idol. She had the ability to win challenges. Like it wasn't even just that it was scary. She just never even really put it ever in motion. And I was screaming at the TV in French. I was like, Sacre bleu!
Sacre bleu!
What are you, Joey from Friends? Okay. All right. Shannon, let me ask you a question and be very honest, okay? The world is listening right now. Australia as well.
Yes.
You are on a season of Survivor.
Australia in the world. The world is listening.
Australia
and also Australia.
Yeah.
That's what this season is set up. That there's like Australia versus the world. Like we're just out of the world. We're part of the world. Makes no sense. But anyway.
So you are on a season of Survivor with Surrey Fields. Surrey Fields and you are working together. You are allies. You're telling me that you're not going to go to the end to Final Tribal with Surrey Fields? You're going to vote Surrey Fields out?
I give Surrey a kidney. I don't know what the question is, but I'm not playing Survivor.
The question is then Cass is allowed to ride for that person also.
Yeah, but not if you want to win the game. Like for sure, she's a lovely person, and I'm sure Ghislaine is incredibly happy about it. But in her want to win Survivor, it was not the right move. She has things to wear. In ways Tommy, I don't feel has nearly like Tommy actually also didn't vote out allies, but Tommy has a lot less to wear. Whereas with Cass, it was so obvious. I was like, vote him out, he's gonna win.
See, I like this though. I like this strategy because essentially we've now recruited 2 people that will most enable our other picks to win the game. We picked a really good support system.
Yeah, that's Team Suri right there. You've done it. Yeah, I mean, look, Cass, she has all the other pitfalls that like anyone, like most people, well, not really, but like late in the draft, all the people that are so disconnected that they really have to like show themselves for people to respect them because they're next to big names. But it's more for me that she's very good at forming groups to win battles against people she liked, sure, but never against her closest allies. She did not have to take a shot that someone like Janine has taken, that Lisa has certainly taken. You know what I mean? Like Lisa did exactly that thing that Cass needed to do. Like that's a next level up, and Cass just wasn't there. So, Lisa, if you're listening, that's why you should love me the most.
I hear you, but how many days of Survivor did Cass play?
I don't know, like 1,000? Like it was like 1,000 days. Like
exactly.
I'd never ended Chappell. Do you know how many times they won KFC? Twice! 2 different KFC rewards. Wasn't called KFC.
If I had known she had won KFC, I would have picked her first. Here's the thing. I think that because if you play Survivor for buckets of chicken, you're crazy. Okay, anyway. So Cass
did win one,
played so many days of Survivor. Of course she was that tied to her number 1 ally. She got other people for 3 days. Like, well, she
went through the thick and thin of it.
It was months.
They went through so much that a bucket of chicken was like everything.
Right.
No, it wasn't everything. They won reward every day. They would do 3 rewards in a row. You don't know what was happening.
We don't know that.
We don't know that. They deserve it.
They won so many rewards.
My point
they would do reward, immunity sometimes. And then they went to a final 3, even though it was 67 episodes.
My point is, if we're gonna hold that against Cass for not having the killer instinct to cut her number 1 ally the first time, look at the Australian Survivor cast. These people, they're gonna have a way harder time cutting their allies. Now, don't get me wrong, they are sharks, they're cutthroat, but these are friendships that have gone a decade now. Some of them they've played closely together. Like, is David cutting Parvati? Is David cutting Luke? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna put that above Cass when everybody else should be in question too.
More than Cass.
Chappell, Australia famously the birthplace of mateship. Like,
right?
Come on,
I love that.
Well, worse than the Australia part of it. Do not let her talk to Rob Bentley because he'll be like, "Oh, is that a blonde woman who allows their allies to get to the end and win?" Because don't let them have a conversation because they played parallel games, and I could see like literally Rob was just Lane and Cass was a much less ridiculous Nicole. And if they link up and it gets to that point, then Rob's also in your draft team. So actually, Cass could help everyone on your draft team. So I worry about that duo because I've seen that film before now twice. I saw it twice in different languages, and I could see it the 3rd time.
Tales all this time.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's Cass, and that leaves me with George, Tony, and Tommy as my picks. And I can take these 2 in any order. That will leave you with your final pick. I'm gonna reverse the order that I probably would do it if I had the pick. Maybe, I don't know. I'm pretty even on these people. I'll take Tony first, just because Tony gets to be in my team. How exciting that Tony's playing Australian Survivor. I love Tony with everything in me. He's due for a win. He wins, and then he does really bad, and then he wins, and then he's really bad on the traders.
Oh, you're alternating on and off, right? Yeah. Win, lose, win, lose.
Well, it's win, third boot. No, he was second boot.
Second boot, yeah.
It's win, second boot, win, second boot. Win. We're at win. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah, traders doesn't count as part of that formula.
It does, and you can't just say that because you're the traders expert. It does count. It's reality television.
I can't because you cover the
authority.
No, that's not true. If I'm the Australian Survivor expert, I decide he's at the point where he wins. So,
whose authority outweighs whom?
I think Tony is, for me, one of my favorite players of all time. This is the top 3, actually. And US Survivor, I think this is... And then you concluded they had Sandra. If they put Jeremy in, that's my top 5, which is also what the traders did. And then Rob...
Someone who has talked to both Tony and Jeremy in the last year. I think that this doesn't count as part of the pattern. I'm worried for Tony. I think Tony... They might not... I don't know if they're going to know David won hella money, okay? What they will know is Tony won $3 million playing Survivor and won it twice. They're going to know that.
Who knows that? Shawnee knows that. Kirby knows that. Do you think Rob knows that?
They would
No.
know.
All
David
it takes
knows
is
that.
for one of them on the other side to know that. Everyone else there will know that because that is a
Absolutely.
great, immediately.
And if you think JLP's not going to start with Tony, you've won Survivor
Yes.
twice.
Yeah.
He does, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I mean, I'm obsessed with seeing Tony back on Survivor. I really thought it would not happen after Winners of
Mhm.
War because again, it really seemed like he was just ready to walk up with those $3 million into the sunset. But he is just like an S tier level character. The things I'm worried about with Tony is, to Pooya's point, like I think he has the biggest threat level of the three Americans. So if they are headhunting and they see the Americans as a trio, Tony would go first. I also think Suri and Parvati would be more than happy to cut bait with Tony if there was a bad situation.
If they got to get rid of one, yeah.
And the other thing is that like Tony was able to do incredibly well, like you said, Shannon, one of the best single season performances in Survivor history in Winners
Maybe
of
the
War,
best ever.
because
Yeah.
he was able to be so underestimated. He talked with me in the moment about like purposely walking at a lower elevation than people, walking with his shoulders hunched. And again, he had that loss to be able to go back to like, no, look what happened last time. Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not dangerous. I'm going to be the ladder. What am I doing? This time, I do not think, like we talked about with David, that it is going to be able to work. It's like, no. They got fooled last time. We will not get fooled again here.
And yet, look at how you all underestimate him again. I've seen this film before. Before Winners at War, no one would draft Tony. He was going undrafted. And I don't know how, in a 20-person draft, which seems like really even number.
Oh, yeah. No, I was
a
a part of said podcast where Akiva Winokur famously said that he would rather pick Natalie White or a person who wasn't on the cast over Tony.
Well,
Yep.
that did not age well because he then went on to play, I think, the best game in Global Survivor history. He won for a second time. I love Tony. Do I think this is a great cast for him? Like, no, I do think he is a big threat. I don't think he's particularly well connected. I don't think they didn't even see Traders. So unfortunately, they didn't get to see him do. And look, Traders was not his fault. Whatever. It wasn't his fault at all. But he's due. He's due for his win. And is it likely? No. But I won't be here underestimating Tony as I take him as pretty much my last draft.
I'm about to say, like you waited until the very end.
Yeah.
But I got him. But I got him.
Yeah, you got him. I don't think Tony. Look, betting against Tony is not wise. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Tony doesn't have any chance of winning, but it's definitely an uphill battle.
I would give Tony a kidney too. I'd give a lot of these people kidneys.
Tony can have my kidney. Suri can have my kidneys, but Tony cannot have my kidney.
Just like straight up. I think you need one of the kidneys.
Great.
Like,
I can flip that around, sell it on the black market. I know some guys.
Yeah. Suri could have them both if she wants them, but Tony cannot have either.
It is an absurd joy to me to have Tony playing Australian Survivor. I love
so cool.
Tony.
It's so cool.
So much. So much. I can't even explain how much I love Tony. Okay. I'm really glad.
I'm so excited to have one of the other reasons I'm excited for Tony and Luke to interact is I would imagine there's a chance that neither one of them knows what the other one is saying. Because Luke speaks like relatively incoherently, and Tony's just making up words. About words, talking about llamas and 5-day calendars. Like they're going to be talking at one another, but they're going to be talking so vociferously to one another that it's just going to be unintelligible.
It will be wonderful. There's so many people I need to see Tony interact with. I need to see him interact with George. I need like so many things. Like they're all the Tony lights we've spoken about for so long. He needs to just like lead this team of like little Tonys that we've been comparing people to him for decades. Super excited to have Tony. And then I will take Tommy. Tommy is a very well-rounded player. He did not do much to lose on what should have been really a 3-3 vote. He's a huge super fan. He's very strategic. He played against returnees. It was fans versus favorites where the fans were dominant. He was doing 2-1-1 split votes against returnees and taking them out of the game, splitting on shot in the darks that people actually roll a die for. He did have a big blindside at the final 5, but otherwise he controlled the game beginning to end, and then he rallied. So he's had that kind of breadth of experience, and he's going to be really geeking out. Like, I know we talk about Lisa in that role. He's seen Survivor. Can't say that's true for everyone on this cast. So I think Tommy's going to be living his absolute dream out there. And yes, hard to be disconnected. Yes, hard to be unknown and have to get the reputation. We've said this about everyone. But I think Tommy's actually a really good pick here at the second last pick. And I'm happy that I watched all of Survivor Finland to get him on my team right now.
Yeah, I mean that'd be pretty wild if we also took the two, relative X factors and be like, all right, Shannon, yes, you've watched almost 100 episodes of these
picks.
2 seasons.
Yeah.
Tell us our picks.
Tell us all about them.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to have Tommy. Does anyone have any thoughts about Survivor Finland, Tommy?
I have thoughts. What I learned during this draft, Shannon, is that if you are friends with or have podcasted with on a co-host level with anybody, you don't want them on your team. That's what I learned personally through this
I
draft.
took Luke first. I did multiple seasons of Talking Tribal with Luke.
Yeah, but then we'll talk about the other people you left on the board.
Who? Just George. Who else have I?
Lisa, a friend of yours, I thought.
Oh,
Lisa.
right. I thought you meant co-host, though. Like, it's just Luke and George.
I said friend or co-host. I said both.
Oh, right.
That's true.
Okay. I mean, I'm friendly with Sarah, too. I don't want to have to go here and just name my friends, okay? I think I have a nice relationship with David, I think.
Yeah. They say a stranger is just a friend you've never met. So maybe Shannon's now like officially becoming friends with someone like Tommy. I will say, I think maybe it's just
Tommy
the
did
wolf.
not reply to my Instagram DM. So actually, of everyone, I think that he.
I think word got back to her as to
Tommy.
who drafted her somehow.
Yeah.
I think that Tommy, I don't know, maybe it's the wolf shirt, and you could speak to this more, Shannon, about like his personality. I could see him really play up like
he's back in the wolf shirt. That's
yeah,
cute.
he could play up certainly like the class clown angle a little bit too, right? Of like, yeah, you don't need to, you don't need to expect anything from me. Like, I'm just here to have a good time. Like, I feel like I've already won. We don't know how much money we're playing for, but I feel like $1 million getting to play all alongside all of you. But I think, again, he is someone that can string together an incredibly impressive game. Again, we're sort of getting down to brass tacks here. I do not know if he is someone who sits in the finals. You're like, yep, Tommy, you're up here against David and Tony. I'm giving it to you, buddy.
He would too. He struggled to vote out the returnees. He said he had such reverence for like the Waloos of the world. And I'm like, you're going to be playing against Tony. Like, he's going to be dying, I think. And such a big part of his story was how he'd been watching the show for over 20 years and like how much he loved the show. So I'm really happy for him that he's going to, have that experience. But yeah, he might be the kind of thing where he pulls a Verpy who quit twice and like he gets to the final 3, like, no, don't vote for me. Vote for Tony, vote for Luke, vote for Shawnee, like if he's that big a fan. But it is a tough one. But Tommy is like, there's not a lot of notes for someone who especially didn't win the game. Like, Tommy's a very well-rounded player who does not have a fatal flaw that I could see in 70% accurate subtitles of Survivor Finland. So he's got the skills, I think. I, again, was following along as best I could. I think Tommy's a good pick. Yes, it means that I have to leave George to you guys. I do feel bad. George is a great friend. He is in a terrible spot. He's not in a good spot. So I can't go on every podcast and say George is completely screwed and then draft him. And then I can't go on a podcast and say I think he'll be 14 out of 14 if I had to make a prediction and then draft him. George is up against David, who I'm sure doesn't like him. At least in the game. George has no connections. He voted out Shawnee. He has such a big reputation. Like, George is just completely effed. So that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on your final draft pick?
A lot of these people have like immaculate social games. Like there's some strategies on here, but a lot of these people have shiny social games. George does not have that. He is coming in at a disadvantage because of that every time he plays. And I think that because of his profile, as well as somebody who does make magic happen, he can also be very threatening to people. And so, the Aussies would have to completely implode day one for him to make it through to like a vote. However, George can do some crazy things. We have seen some wild things. What was that? Is that Heroes versus Villains, where he has that like the craziest tribal council I've ever seen in my life. I'm still to this day like George swinging the idol over his head is iconic. Like, it just, if you let him cook, he will cook. It is going to be crazy. It's going to be entertaining. However, they would be wild to allow that to happen. It would not be wise.
I mean, here's the thing, Chappell. He might not let that happen because this man is an idol-sniffing hound.
Advantages, idols, etc.
I got to imagine, especially, he probably imagined, Shannon, just as you were able to forecast, that he is in dire straits going into this season. So he has got nothing to lose if he just starts hitting the beach and starts searching for idols. And so if he gets through that first tribal council, and again, the Australia tribe doesn't win or keeps winning until the merge, then he's reached the merge. But even still, I think he's going to have a major target on his back. He might as well get that tattooed as well as the idol around his neck. Because here's the thing. We talked about Shawnee, again, not performing as well every subsequent season. George finished as runner-up and finished as the fallen angel and the last returnee standing in Heroes versus Villains. He has a massive reputation coming in here as one of the most strategic people in franchise history. The New York Times wrote up an entire article. They don't even watch Australian Survivor, but they had to find themselves a VPN to watch this and write up about how sublime of a move this was. But I will actually push back a little bit, Chappell. I do think that George, when he finds his people, like, really locks in with them. Yes, there's the whole Shawnee thing, but, like, him and Kara proved it in Brains versus Brawn 1, right? That, like, he is loyal to the soil with somebody if they prove their loyalty to him. And you could argue maybe it was part of his folly that he wanted to vote out Shawnee at that point. So I do think, like, if you do want to associate yourself with George, he can be a good ally for you to a certain extent. The question is if you want to be an ally with George or if he's always going to be an enemy.
Yeah. And I do think, like, with Tony, like, you underestimate George, you're in peril. I've spent years underestimating George through the entirety of Brains v. Brawn. I thought he was out every single week. He made it to the final 2. I did not expect that. He had so much plot armor, but it was like, yeah, but he would still be the main character even if he was out, like, second. And he was not. And then he came back in Heroes Villains, and he should not have controlled that season. Much like David, it was like, what did you just watch? How are you not aware that this is the thing? How have you let that happen? And they did. Will these people let that happen? No. But as we've said, George has other superpowers where he can do things with limited numbers. He's probably the best at that in the world, where he doesn't need as much social capital to make plans happen with advantages or with just pure strategy. It'll be his hardest task yet. I hope I'm wrong, but it's not a good spot for George, so I've left him to you guys. So the teams, I'll just read it in order. I'll try to remember this. So you got George, Shawnee, Sari, Parvati, Rob, Lisa, and Cass, a very global team, fittingly. I got a lot of Australians. I got Kirby, David, Luke, Janine, Sarah, Tony, and Tommy. And those are the teams. And that's it. I think that's it. That's the draft.
If we were going to do it like this, Shannon, we could have just split this bad boy in half. If it was
I know, basically.
I thought about it. I was like, imagine the shortest podcast ever. We just do AUV World.
I mean,
we almost did.
Almost.
Yeah,
all right, so then should we go around the table here though? Like, can we lock in individually official winner picks for the season before episodes start coming out?
We have to. I will take Luke. I've said Luke. I drafted Luke first for that reason, and Luke will be my winner pick. Anyone else?
I would go with Parv. I would go Parv on the winner pick.
Yeah, I would agree, but I will try to go for something.
We can share these, Mike. You pick one and we share both.
I always say you can, but my God, you guys share a team. You share a winner pick.
You made us share a team. To be clear, you wanted us to share a team.
Sam said to do this.
Sam don't run nothing. You made us do this.
I can't.
All right, I will provide a contingency. I will say Parvati, but if I'm forced to switch off, my backup will be Sari.
You want?
Yeah, Sari. Mike, you and I, again, same page. I'm 100% down.
Oh my God, you guys love Parvati and Sari. You're so original. You love the two most beloved players in Global Survivor.
I never said that I wasn't a basic bitch. Sari's my favorite player. Pearl Island is my favorite season. I'm not a connoisseur of fine wines here, you know? I'm throwing away gas station hooch.
Yeah, like, ooh, you gotta like pick the what are you, hipster? Like, let me pick.
No, I'm not at all. Sari's also my favorite player. It's funny. It's like, well, they really got all my favorite players. Like, yes, they went for the biggest ones. Like, those are my favorites. I love them. I'm a basic bitch too. Basic bitches here. Basic recap bitches. Chappell, are you gonna choose a really, really basic? You're gonna go with Sari?
Duh. It's like, have you met me? Like, I've picked Sari in every iteration of every game that she's ever played ever. And I will never change up. I am a Sari diehard fan. It'll never go away.
I love Sari too. I love her so much. I love her more than anyone in my life.
I love her so much that you will not ever draft her, and that's okay.
I love her more than I love all of you by far.
Doesn't seem like it
a little bit.
This does not seem like new information to any of us.
I love her so much, and she's going to play Australian Survivor.
Yeah. This is crazy. This
Brain
is great.
explosion.
I'm actually very nervous about this though. You know, like I kind of like so like I know you really love Winners at War, Shannon, but I do not. There's nothing I like about seeing my faves lose. And
another
so, like,
basic bitch take.
Right, like you know, really, I think nothing more basic than like, oh, I'll pick the one with all the winners. Like, okay, but
no,
like,
everyone hates Winners at War.
Yeah,
And believe me, it's the hottest take I have that I love Winners at War. Okay, I've got a hate for that take, I'm sure.
It's like, okay, because it has all the winners on it. We get it, you love it. So, but for me,
no, I like when my faves win. Tony won, and I loved it.
Sure. Okay. So for me, I don't like watching my faves lose. I remember how sad I was throughout Winners at War, and not just like because Tony won, because I had to watch people like Sophie lose. I had to watch Tyson lose twice in one season. I was like,
those
wait,
people had all won. How weak are you? That
everybody
you can't see former winners
won.
lose. It's fine.
I don't like
fine.
seeing my faves lose. I don't like seeing them fighting. Like, do you know how hard it's gonna be to see Rob Bentley voted out? That would be crazy. Like, so for me, I'm like, don't vote out Shani, but also don't mention Cerie's name and leave Lisa alone. Like, I don't know who to root for because I don't know who's coming for my face, but like, there's so many of my faves here. So yeah, I'm not going to enjoy this, but I'm going to enjoy talking about it with all of you.
I actually have something on this because this was a big thing in Winners at War, and I know a lot of people did not like the boot order in Winners at War, and like the people at the end weren't exactly my faves, but then Tony won, and he was absolutely my fave. But I think that something I've always seen: if the boot order is bad, it's bad. And believe me, I hate All Stars. I hate Australian Survivor All Stars desperately. There are no words strong enough for how much I hate.
Love that season.
You're wrong because you love David. It's literally the exact same thing because you want exactly the Tony thing with me, but it's fine.
And what about
my point with All Star season? Unless the boot order is terrible, a lot of the time you have to be grateful for what you have. I remember Winners at War, people were like, Yul went pre-merge. I'm like, Yul was on Survivor in 2020. Be grateful for that. We get Suri and Tony and Parvati. Whatever happens, like, wow. You know, like, wow. Like, let's just stand here in this moment before it all starts and be like, even if you were mad in an episode from now because some legend goes home, because they probably will, because everyone's a legend, how amazing is this? That's what I just want to say. I just want to say before we turn on it, you know, like before everyone inevitably turns on it, because returning seasons are very, very heated, and it's hard for it to not be connected to the results because you care so much about each of these people. But I'm very happy we get to do this. I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Like this is like, again, to your point, Shannon, we should be so incredibly lucky we get the chance to see this, let alone talk about this. So thank you so much for having, you know, the recap bitches on for our second season here. Again, like the amount of work that you put in to be, in my opinion, one of the most preeminent authorities on Global Survivor is second to none. And so again, I was only able to provide the book reports that I did because of everything that you went through. And so even from that perspective, like no matter, you know, no matter how Tommy and Cass do, like you're able to speak to that. You're able to speak to this incredible show. That's the other thing as well, is like, you know, depending on how you feel about the casting, depending on how you feel about how it all plays out, depending on how you feel about like the money people take away at the end of this, like what all these people have in common is they played this little show that got introduced 25 years ago, randomly one summer on CBS, and forever changed not only thousands of people's lives firsthand, if not millions of people's lives secondhand, but changed the face of television and changed all of our lives in some sort of way. You know, we're going to talk about this a lot with season 50 next year, but it's something that I like, I'll be completely honest, it like moved me to tears out there when I was just watching it. This idea that like, there is such this incredible unifying force, and it's around a stupid, silly reality show, especially Australian Survivor, where they just, you know, they could go super goofy sometimes, for lack of a better term. But like what all of these people have in common is that they went out there sometimes multiple times and put their hearts and souls and bodies on the line for a silly little game in pursuit of a life-changing amount of money. And it's just a really cool thing to think about, that like this is a love that these people share. It's a love that we share as well. And so I hope that love gets represented in some way, shape, or form over what we're going to watch.
Yeah, not everyone played for life-changing money. You know, some of them played for 30,000
euros,
game, which would be,
and some
I'll take it. Yeah, but it's not $2 million US. It's not $9 million.
What if
Australian-
David's Dondi prize money is up for grabs? Whoever
Oh,
wins.
I like that.
Crazy.
What if
That
it's
would
like
be
what if it's like
crazy.
that show Endurance where like when the people got voted out, they gave away their pyramid pieces. Like, all right, David's been the
Yes.
first voted out, so his bank is now up for grabs.
Yeah.
Bequeath it, David. Bequeath.
I can't wait to
Imagine
find out how
9
much money
million
we're
fire tokens to distribute to everybody.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, we are prepared. We've got people who played the traders. We've got the traders expert. We've got Dondi. We have Chappell here, who's literally with Jenny, the global leader of Dondi. We have Mike, who's the global leader in everything. So
Everything.
we are here as a recap bitches. We could not, I think as a collective, have worked harder to be more prepared for this exact moment in time. And that's what we're going to be doing this season. So I hope that you will join us. And we're going to have stuff with Rob every week as well. And hopefully as many X interviews as we can get. So this is going to be your one-stop shop for everything Australian Survivor with, again, people whose lives have been leading up to this moment in every conceivable way. So I hope that you will join us. Chappell, tell the people where they can find you.
YouTube.com/@recapkickback. It's my YouTube channel where my podcast lives. You can subscribe to the podcast, recapkickback.com/subscribe, and check me out talking about whatever I want to talk about, including a live rewatch of Flavor of Love season 1. We're about to wrap that up and we're going to season 2. And then, of course, if you like Big Brother, because if you listen to this, maybe you do, you can catch me behind the paywall here on RHAP talking about the sloppiness of the season on The Slop. But you got to be a patron to see that.
And listen, hopefully our Patreon at this point to check out a lot of the international links, including links to episodes of Australian Survivor versus the World. So while you're there, check it out. It is necessary content, especially in a sloppy season like this.
Thank you, Mike.
Pooya, where can people find you?
Chappelle puts the penis in sloppiness. Okay, you can find me on all socials at Pooyaism. Find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Pooya. That's where I am when I'm not podcasting. Having a good time there right now, so come do check it out. And like Chappelle said, Big Brother season is kicking off, so you can find me Friday mornings talking everything that went on the feeds Thursday night, Pooya Fridays with Taryn, so you can find that. And check out the Pal with me and Liana. We have a fun time there. It's a very fun pod. We just wrapped up for now. Shannon, it ain't gonna work.
That podcast will not be past the end of your marriage. It will not. We're gonna have to end it.
I actually disagree. I want it to last through the end of a marriage should it come. I want to
so
see how that dynamic
entertaining.
changes.
Oh, if you don't
That's
think
good content.
the divorce proceedings on pod are gonna hit, those numbers are gonna be amazing.
Do it for the
Yeah.
content.
Yeah, that's in your dreams that podcast is gonna happen because we are going to be together forever.
We'll see who's together. You were plugging it though? Listen to Pooya and Liana.
Wait, first
for
you
now,
mug us, then
while
you threaten
can.
people's marriages.
While you can listen to them, you should listen to them talk about their very fragile relationship.
You're just digging yourself a hole with comments that are waiting to happen with this.
Shannon, our marriage is as secure as the victory we sealed today with this draft. So
Very unsecure.
We shall see.
Okay. Anyway, do you want to bet the marriage on it? You want to
Get out.
If we
Bet the marriage.
If you lose, you have to get divorced. And if I lose, I'll get divorced.
Loser has to get a divorce. How about that?
Do it. Let's do it. I'll do it
Between
right
us.
now.
I do not consent.
I'm in.
Angela,
I'm in. Come here.
Honestly, you know what? You two, I think we've upgraded the grenade officially. I think we found the newest version of it.
I don't think Peter will agree to this.
Let me talk to him.
No, Peter would get better off. We agree, but I don't think
Liana will know it's good content. She'd agree for the content.
Yeah,
She like
exactly.
to
Yeah, this is how one day. I will keep betting everything I have until I bet one day and win for you and Liana.
See, the problem is, Shannon, you think that a divorce automatically means we are going to be sour towards each other.
No.
Right.
Well,
They're gonna still live together. They're never moving
Yeah.
out. They're together forever.
And what would happen to the cats? It's not fair to the cats.
Liana can keep both the cats
We said, make no mistake, I don't want
How
those.
could you say that?
because they were her babies. I'm not going to separate her from her babies.
Shannon,
Now, if I was
don't you
petty,
want
I'd take Clam because she loves Clam more. But I'm not doing that.
Do it. Okay.
No.
Peter and I talk about
Mike Blueball size podcast on the network. Mike, do your
anyway,
plugs, please.
Yeah. Mike, your marriage is fine. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm 150 to 200% satisfied with
There you
my
go.
marriage right now. We just celebrated 10 blissful years.
Yeah.
But now,
Many, many
that's
more.
fine. No, you guys are fine.
Well, outside of watching my back, I guess, when it comes to my marital status, of course, the Reality Flash is a podcast I do whenever breaking news comes across our streets in the wild world of reality TV. If you missed it, some wild Love Island stuff happened in the past couple weeks. I'm assuming much more is coming down the pike, so check all that out. And I'm going to be the first to say this. There's some Big Brother happening right now. And so I'm doing weekly exit press over at Parade, talking with the most recently voted out contestant, occasionally showing up on a podcast here or there. And I guess the last thing I will plug is, listen, we're reaching August, and into August goes September. Before we know it, Survivor 49 will be at our heels. And so when the cast is officially announced, I will be bringing you, as I have been, preseason interviews with this season's cast. So very excited, especially given the fact we know 2 of them are going to be on season 50. I'm sure a lot of eyes are going to be on a 49. So that's way in the future, though. We have an entire ass season to get through before that, literally. Otherwise, you can check out everything I'm doing, including my cameo at a Mike Bloom type.
Look at the expertise that we have here in this turret/temple/tribal council. So love having the recap bitches back. We will be covering the season. Firstly, the preseason stuff. Again, every player, if you don't know them or you do know them, you want some pretty hardcore analysis of every player. We did the Australian Survivor World Tour about every player in this season. And I loved the discussions because they were all so different. You know, whether it was debating moves that they'd made or kind of where they sit in the lexicon or, you know, just going through all of it, how we thought they would do. I really enjoyed those podcasts. So that's the World Tour. We have a podcast with Rob about why we're excited for the season. We will have its look as well. Very excited about that because the cast pictures are amazing. And
They're
like as
really
soon as they
good.
came out, I could not wait to hear Bryce talk about Suri,
Yes.
etc. So I think that's going to be very, very fun. And then we're going to cover the season, as far as I know, 3 times a week, right? Chappell, Pooya, Mike for 3-ish weeks, and then a finale, I think. So that's what we're looking to do. It's going to be over so quickly. So my advice is just invest. Like, quit your jobs. Or you don't even have to quit your jobs for the season. Just take, like, vacation time, right? Like, we're going to be around for, like, 3-ish weeks. And we're going to have a good time with the daily recaps, with weekly stuff with Rob, with X interviews. You can find everything you need here. WeKnowGlobalSurvivor.com. Subscribe to the feed. Follow me at Shannon Gates so you don't miss anything. We're going to have a very good time together. Thank you for everyone for following along with all of that. Thank you to the recap bitches for being here. Thank you to our team behind the scenes. And I will see you next time. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.